Welcome to the Woodshed with Cody Wood on the Equus Radio Network, where some amazing guests stop in, share their stories, and have a few laughs along the way. From the rodeo road to everyday life, it's all part of the ride. Here's your host, Cody Wood.
We are live with the Woodshed and Cody Wood here on Equus Television, Equus Radio Network, and we have had another great morning here at the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo, round number 9, and got a big-time piece of that puzzle. When you talk about the Thomas and Mack the last few years, and especially in one of the more growing events in all of rodeo and the bareback riding, cannot wait to get into a great conversation with our guest here today. But our episode here today brought to you by Challenge of Champions Tour. If you are involved in the rodeo world and have not looked into the Pacific Northwest and what's going on with the Challenge of Champions Tour, an unbelievable team. Jason Maddox and his group do a fantastic job of putting on bull ridings the right way and allowing these young cowboys coming up through the bull riding world to learn the right way. And you're starting to see it come to full fruition right now with individuals like TJ Gray. TJ Gray coming off of a couple of big round wins, and not just round wins, but rank bull rides. And he is a great product of that. The Chase Dohertys of the world, the list goes on and on of who has come out of the Pacific Northwest and going through that system there with the Challenge of Champions Tour. They got their finals right around the corner. About 25 different events throughout the calendar year, but just a great organization. If you're a bull rider and you're looking to have some great bull ridings, Challenge of Champions Tour is the place for you, no doubt about it. Thank you to the CCT for bringing us this episode. But now, folks, as we get into our guest right here, when you're talking about just absolutely dominating the sport of bareback riding from word go, broke the all-time season record when it came to permit money won, broke the all-time money won in a season back in 2023, your average champion in 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, this is World Champion Bareback Rider, Keenan Hayes.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, Keenan, how are you, man?
I'm good. Happy to be on.
It's good to see you again. Thank you so much for stopping by and joining us here, man. I'm so excited to kind of get into this and catch up with you, not just about, your career and I mean, you're just, still just 22, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, you got a big time future ahead of you, but from what you've already accomplished, where you're planning to go, and just the sport of bareback riding as a whole,
Yes, sir.
I am a huge bareback riding fan and absolutely love where the sport is going, and you play a big part in the success of that. But kind of get right into it. A lot of these rodeo fans that might be watching us here today or folks that are new to bareback riding, right. 2025 is a little bit different for you than the years prior.
Yep, very different. Probably longest I've been off of a bareback horse, or fewest horses I've been on in a year since the last 10 years. So it's a lot different than normal. Last Reno, so probably mid-June last year before the NFR, we pulled my groin, might have tore it, and then finished the year off just going and blowing, and come the end of the year, it was all but torn apart, and then finished out at the finals. And after the finals, it was really all tore off, and went and had surgery and just sat out the whole year and make sure it healed right. And since only 22, just make sure everything's good, and been going so hard since I was 16. So there's other little injuries that hadn't had time to heal up by themselves. So honestly, it's a real blessing being able to sit back and kind of remember why we do this. So
I could see that being a benefit and having the success from it. And but I can't overstate too, real fast, to go back into it, because I mean, just being in rodeo, torn groins is a fairly common injury, more so than probably any other sport in the world. But from what I understand, it hadn't happened to me, but it is one of the most painful injuries that you could go through.
Yes, sir. Yeah, no, it's tough. Bull riders, bronc riders, bareback riders, our stock guys usually, and we just squeeze with our legs so much there, and so get a little pull or tear, and it's hard to heal up, unless you take some time off and really rehab it. It's tough. But middle of the year, I was sitting good. I think I was leading the world right at the time, so I was like, we'll finish it off, and it wasn't bad at the time, and just gradually got worse. So.
Got worse, I know. But you're talking June to December.
Yes, sir.
That's a lot of bareback horses in between.
Yep. Yeah, it's I think Reno's week before Greeley, and then after Greeley's 4th of July. So it was not the right time to pull a groin or anything, but so we just fought through it. Been tough, and
Yeah.
But it worked out.
You still finished third in the world.
Yes, sir.
So I mean, that, like, and for most people, that's an extremely successful season. I know it was a little bit short of what your goal was there to be a 2-time world champion, in your first 2 seasons, essentially.
Yeah, it was tough that way, but, it was just being mentally strong through it. Like God has a plan for everybody. And he had a different choice for me that year. And in all honesty, it probably made me a stronger bareback rider, and mentality wise, I've kind of went out and just dominated since young age. So like having a little bit of a struggle, I think it's just going to make me better in the long run.
Yeah, no, and you could see that in so many different athletes' lives, whether it's football or basketball or whatever else. I mean, there's a lot of different examples of that. And, and when you're talking about something like bareback riding and rodeo and stuff, that is obviously it's extremely physically demanding, but it's also mentally exhausting. When you're talking about the length of the rodeo season, obviously the different variables and the dangers and all the different things, but there's a lot that goes into a rodeo season for a bareback rider.
Yeah, from October to September 30th, it's grueling. They keep adding rodeos too, so there's so much stuff you want to go to, and it's almost hard to pick and choose where to go and the ones that you need to enter and have money to drag some of these bigger guys out, but still kind of duck off and not use up all your rodeos. So no, it's that was a big thing, like on my permit, and I really am glad that I rode my permit out 2 years. So I traveled with Bodie Lammers and Jacob Lee's my first permit year, and then that second permit year I jumped in with a few different guys, and then that rookie year I was with Shano and Wyatt Denny. So getting to travel with some guys have been around and entered up, I learned a lot on where to be, what perfs, and what rodeos are worth going to. And so it was smart for me just to take a step back and go slow out through the first couple of years of rodeo and kind of get some advice from older veterans. So it helped out a lot.
Yeah, no, you can tell you're going about it the right way. I mean, obviously there's a part, because obviously you're extremely athletic and obviously gifted at riding bareback horse. So you have to pull up on the reins a little bit to have the foresight of knowing, this is a 10, 15, 20 year plan, not 2 to 3 to 4.
Yes, sir.
I think speak volumes, and I think you're going to reap the benefits of it. But let's go back to, your permit year and that sort of thing, because I've had the opportunity, obviously, we're kind of from the same area there in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado and Wyoming. And I first met you as a bull rider.
Yes, sir.
I knew you rode bareback horses really well, but I first met you as a bull rider, and you rode bulls extremely well too. I mean, when was that, or when was the last time that you got on a bull, and when did you make that decision to focus on that one path?
Right. So when I was 18, I think I was kind of dragged my feet getting my permit. So I think it's March, a couple months after I turned 18, and entered up like Scottsdale. I think they drew me out of Scottsdale in both events, and Lake Havasu, I think, is the first one that let me in, and let me in both the bareback and the bull riding. Won the third in the bareback riding, I think, at that rodeo, and then got like actually I got on a bull of Honeycutt's. It's called Poopin' Popsicles. Lived up to its name, and I think I was 52 championship points on it. So, but I'm 1 for 1 in the PRCA and the bull riding.
There you go, that 1,000.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we kept our gear bag, like had the bull rope and the helmet and all the crap in my truck for about a year, and just couldn't really get into bull riding. They'd let me into the bareback riding, and I was starting to win pretty good money in bareback, and got tired of looking at that damn helmet, so I just left it at home one day, quit entering. But so the PRCA kind of made a choice for me on not getting on. I just chose one or the other, and it was a good deal for me. Honestly, he's keeping me a little healthier, I think, probably. That bull riding, I did that for since I was young. I've been riding bulls longer than I rode bareback horses, and there's so many bull ridings there in Colorado, like Western Slope, like shit you could get on pretty much every day during the summer, and even during the winter you could find somewhere to get on bulls, and pretty good stuff with Lostro there, and Savages, and Ferris is over, and Rifle, we'd go over to his all the time, and so I was a bull rider that got on bareback horses for a long while, and but no, I think bull riding, it really helped. Because I mean, I wasn't the greatest bull rider, but I was somewhat sticky, so there's stuff to overcome and strive over, and it's a lot more of a mentally tough game I think that bull riding is and bareback riding. You know, like bareback riders, you should ride 100% of everything. You know, sometimes you might bobble, but the bull riders might just ride 50 or 60, and it's shit. That's just tough. You know, it's mentally draining. You know,
it'll humble you real quick. For sure.
Yeah, something that you rode it a week ago and you fall off today in a second and make you look like a dink. It's like, well, I hated that. That part was tough, but I loved riding bulls.
Yeah, no, it's and I love it. Just chatting and the opportunity. You know, anybody that has the ability, because it's one thing to master or or just even become decent at one skill when it comes to the rodeo arena, let alone multiple. You know, and so talking about bareback riding and bull riding and stuff, and Wacy Shala this week. I mean. Yeah. He has really shown. I mean, he's had a great week. I know the last few rounds have been tough in the bull riding, but it's been cool to see a bull rider that most people think is a bull rider and a bareback having such big success there to open the night off.
Well, in my opinion, like riding bareback horses and riding bulls at the same time, like when you go to spurn on a bull, like and you've been riding bareback horses, I think your spur stroke is just so much more crisp than a lot of them bull riders. Like, you'll see some of them guys that never been on anything but bulls, and they'll almost like straight leg and you're just poking them. Yeah. Then you see a guy, like Stetson or Wacy or somebody that's been on bulls, they're barebacks, and they're dragging up to their handle and sticking it down in them. It looks so much better.
It does look good.
Yeah, I think that bareback riding it's so hard on you too, and I think it helps. Like that bull riding it, especially when you're spurring on them. But no, it's awesome. Definitely. But yeah, Wacy, he makes me want to crack back out.
Well, and that's just it too, so here you are, without question, one of the greatest bareback riders in the world right now. And you've had to, kind of be on the sideline for a full year. Like I said, I think you are going to benefit from it. I'm sure that you've learned a lot and really have come into a focus, in a sense, to even just even more dominating. But when you look at it in this year and the bareback riding world as a whole, from the from the riggin ridings, those big events that they're having, and then obviously yourself and the Rockers, the Sam Petersons, the Wacy Shalas, really bareback riding is at a hotter spot right now than it has been in some time, I think, and you guys play a big role in that.
Yeah, I think it kind of started, like when I was a kid, that pony bronc riding deal, it really was kind of making a come up there, and it was like Cooper Cook, Dean Thompson, me, Sam Peterson was going to them. And, we're all from different parts of the country. So we have guys, high school rodeos that you're going and competing against, but there might be one or two guys that might be at that high level. And without that competition, you're only riding to your competition's level. So like even when I'd go to high school rodeo, I'd see myself not ride to my potential. And then we'd go out to them other rodeos where we'd see all the guys from all over the country, and it'd right back to how you're supposed to ride, so I think that competition, you get pushed, like Stetson, he travels with Kai, and I think, and two being together, that just drives them to be even better, and so like, I think that's what it really came down to, like we got to see each other a lot more often and get to being friends. So we always are wanting to be the best, and I'm better than you, so like we just always so competitive, and I think that really jumped that younger bareback riding up just levels and levels, because shit, for years it was kind of dying out, but that mini bronc riding deal, it really made it a rejuvenation kind of deal,
It really has, and this is a perfect lead way into this too, I mean, yourself and your sister, with Rocky Mountain Mini Broncs, I mean, has really done a lot, been a part of that big movement when it comes to allowing these youngsters to learn the right way and to have the right stock to get on. And I've had the opportunity to announce multiple of them, so I kind of know you guys' whole herd now, all the horses and everything else and the bulls. But it's awesome, one, to see. You can visibly see the kids getting better every event that I go to, and I see a lot of the same kids. And then, we had one in Cheyenne this year, one in Hayden, where y'all are from. And I mean, gosh, there was like 85 bronc riders. I mean, I can't remember the exact number.
They get a lot of entries. No, they get kids from all over. Like that one in Hayden, they had probably 2 or 3 families come from Oklahoma and stuff. Like So they're traveling, you know. And,
there was Texas to Iowa to Montana.
Yeah.
And all made their way to,
right.
I mean,
and that's awesome.
Colorado,
being for a youth association, it's definitely hard to pack up your family and go with young kids, you know. But no, that's starting them young and having the right footing to be better, you know. Like when I was a kid, you know, we were getting on Lostro's calves at 14 years old. These 2-year-olds are just over their head bucking way too hard.
Yeah.
It probably didn't help us learn a whole lot, but, you know, like we're older generation kind of, like not everybody was like, oh, you get on the stuff that you're right for you. You're still kind of raised around you're a cowboy, don't be a pussy kind of deal. And
nod your head,
you know, like, so we'd go and get on those ABBI bulls, Ferris's PBR bulls at the practice pen. And I loved it, you know, and in the bareback riding, I kind of did a different route, you know, like I'd get on some rank stuff every now and again, but it's so much more dangerous getting hung up on one of them. So as I got big enough, I'd kind of started slowly stepping, but in that bull riding, I just balls to the walls. But so like these kids now, they having ponies to get on and going to these schools and stuff and having these high up guys sit down and actually explain the stuff to them, you know, because shit, it's so confusing. Like you look at a bareback rigging and a glove, it makes no sense unless you've seen one before, especially when you go to setting them up. Like you have no idea what you're doing. And I know Cooper Cook didn't never set up a rigging until he's been in the PRCA, damn near made the NFR. So, and he's not the only one, you know.
Here he is winning round one.
Oh man, no, that Caleb Bennett, he's usually in the Thomas and Mack setting up everybody's rigging during the national finals. So like, having able to teach these kids doing that stuff, you know, like setting up your own glove and your own rigging, it going to be the best feeling stuff. And then if something happens, you can fix it.
Yeah.
So like stuff like that, there's just so many little things, and just get them aware of it. Not even that they know what they're doing, but at least if they're aware, then they can kind of pick it up easier,
exactly. And then where you really see it too, and I mean, you're probably a great example of this, but is your spur stroke.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right? You know, I mean, having those ponies and you know, some of the right caliber of stock to get on, those kids are able to set their feet and actually learn the process.
Yeah, actually learn what it's supposed to feel like. And that's the toughest thing. Like these kids that have been getting on but hasn't clicked quite yet. We always keep telling them it's like that it's gonna be one horse. It's gonna blow your mind how easy it is, you know, like it'll all click and everything will start moving, and then you're like, oh, that's what it's actually supposed to be. Because again, you know, like even the riding part of bareback riding, it's the opposite of what you want to do on a horse that's jumping away from you and bucking, you know. It's open your chest and stick your chest out and spur them, and instead of just balling up and staying on, you know. It's so like learning that part and learning to let go. Like if you're in a bad spot, just get back to the front and keep spurring. It's so hard to teach somebody, but like once they get it, it's almost like on one head, it's almost just a night and day difference. Man, but it's a cool sight when it happens, you know.
Yeah, that is cool. And it is. It's one of those events that, like I said, it's hard. You can't really start too young, right? Especially on like an actual bucking horse.
Yeah, you know? and it's so hard, and kids, they're too small, it'll just rip them apart. So it's tough. And then you get some of them kids that just want it more than any other kid, you know, and they're this big and 100 pounds or less, you know, and you're like, man, just wait it out a little bit. You're young.
Because then your growth, like you said, once it does click, you know, I mean, gosh, the growth from like, let's say, you know, a really good athlete or whatever at 17 to 20,
right?
I mean, they take a lot of strides in that few-year period.
And as long as you can stay healthy, like with me, like I was good, and then growing finally let go. So like, it's been pretty good. All these, like Sam and everyone, had pretty good health so far, and all these younger guys, but we'll see more as we get older. But as of now, we've all been fairly healthy, and so as long as we all don't just wear out, early, we'll be good.
You'll be good to go. I know. So speaking of like next year and just some of the opportunities that are coming with inside, you know, bareback riding, you know, so. You know, we go back to 2023, right? 2024, you basically were injured more than half the year, still finished number 3 in the world. But so the last full healthy year you had in 2023, you broke the all-time season money earners at that time, you know, and won the average at the NFR, won the world title,
rookie
of the year. Yeah. So, I mean, there wasn't anything you couldn't have not won, you know. And that's just such an amazing stat to make, and just such domination when it comes to that. So here we are, like I said, you're one of the more dominating bareback riders that there are. And here we're in Vegas and watching this NFR play out right now. I got to imagine it's got you even more fired up and chomping at the bit.
Oh, it's irritating. Yeah. Yeah. I think this year, there's probably been more guys come off their horses than the prior 3 combined. It's a tough year for the boys, but it just lights a fire under me. It's honestly most rodeo or bareback riding I've watched since last year at the finals. It been at the house every now and again. It'd get turned on and I'd watch, but turn it off right after that and get back to work. Just keep my mind moving off of just rodeo. So but just to watch it lit a fire under me. And being out here, I'd wish I wouldn't have to come out here unless I had to, but coming out and seeing everybody shaking hands and everybody doing some autographs and podcasts, and just staying out in the air, it's a good thing. And it's always fun to come out and run into people that you maybe didn't know, but they know you, and take pictures and stuff. Like leaving South Point, I got caught in the parking lot and hard to hide in my truck. But it's awesome seeing all the fans.
Yeah, no. And like I said, it might be a little bit, like I said, I'm sure you're just grinding to get in there and go over there. But man, what is that going to do, to that next horse, right? I mean, you're just going to beat that gun down, and speaking of that, so, the 2026 season's already started. You've entered 2 rodeos and you won both of them.
Yes, sir.
Right. So you won Las Vegas and then you won Raleigh. Yeah. So, so right now you're already 2 for 2.
2 for 2. Yep.
Yeah. So things are moving in the right direction, and right around the corner we got Denver.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. Just start entering. Entered Billings. They drew me out of it, and being out that year, it's going to get kind of tough, especially the wintertime. There's not a lot of rodeos, and there's 70, 80 bareback riders trying to get into them. So it's kind of tough to get in this time of year, but we'll get into a couple, keep just chipping away at them qualifications, and come spring and summertime, it'll start widening up, and we'll be right back.
Getting into everything.
Yep. Try to get in the buildings. Oh yeah. Yeah. Go to California and have fun.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm excited.
Yeah, and I live in Cheyenne now, but I grew up outside of Denver there in Colorado, and one of the things growing up, my dad rode bulls and whatnot, but I grew up right around Bruce Ford. And when you look at the rodeo world, in a sense, obviously you have your different generations and different things like that, but a lot of times, bronc riders are synonymous with the Dakotas, right? You can make a statement that bull riders are, synonymous with Texas or whatever, but I had always thought, especially with Bruce, being a 20-time NFR qualifier, a 5-time world champion, that, Colorado, Wyoming, we're synonymous for bareback riders, and here you are keeping that legacy going. I think is just so cool.
Yeah, no, it always has, and same with bronc riding, like kind of like that Northwest area. We had the 3 or 4 different families, we got the West Herzogs and the Buckleys and Foresters, like that Northwest corner of Colorado and Vernal, it's we had a whole lot of old school cowboys, and they're out in the middle of nowhere desert, and if they fall off moving cows, they're gonna have a long walk home. So that's probably, I think, why they ride so good.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, it's awesome to keep that heritage alive. Like growing up, them guys were around, but they're done already. So I didn't really get to watch them when they're still riding, other than just video. Mm-hmm. But being around them at the sale barn, like running into them here and there, and they didn't really know me for riding bucking horse until a little later on. But once they did, it really made it fucking cool, when they recognized me finally. It's like, man, I made it, and it's awesome. It's awesome to be able to keep that Colorado heritage alive. We've been 1 or 2 bareback riders or Colorado kids a year, so it's nice to keep with that Colorado flag in Thomas and Mack.
No, definitely is, man. Definitely is, especially because at our roots, it's really a cool cowboy mountain state, and mountain cowboys are a little bit different than others,
tougher,
and obviously politics and all that things aside, people have a different perspective of it when they first hear the word Colorado now. But at the end of the day, I know, but at the end of the day, we got some rank ass bareback riders.
Yeah, you get off them ski trails, you can get into some cool country there in Colorado, and some tough guys. So it's cool. I love Colorado for the different stuff you can be at. Like where I live, it could be 20 minutes and I'll be in dark timber, or an hour and I'm in the high desert. So
yeah,
it's
really
so
cool
different.
spot.
Yeah,
really
yeah.
cool spot. And then I absolutely love that you mentioned Wes Herzog. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a history person, you know, and just in general, American history, whatever the case
Right.
may be, but rodeo history and some of those guys that, you know, before social media, before some of the other accolades that whatnot, that guy, I mean, had a chance to be around him, you know, at some of these senior rodeos when I was young. My dad was going to these senior rodeos, right? And those bronc riders were so cool, man.
Oh, man.
Because they,
Yeah.
and when you're 50 years old and you're still strapped, getting down, and getting, you know, running your hand in a riggin or with Wes, you know, getting into a saddle bronc saddle, that's when you know you love something.
Oh, man,
so much that you can't live without it.
Yeah. And at that age, you know, like you're not winning the big money anymore, so it is just out of the pure love for it, you know. And then they're the guys to be around, you know. Like if they're still doing it at that time, that's probably somebody that knows something you should probably listen to, you
they
know.
something for sure.
And no, that Garrett Buckley, I think it's his uncle or grandfather or something like that. So I've always been around them guys, the Buckleys and the Dickinsons, and actually the old Crow's Nest at the fairgrounds there in Hayden, they just redid it all, and they had a Wes Herzog plaque on it. And, I didn't get the plaque, but I got the Crow's Nest, and I set it out behind my shop and made it into a bar patio kind of deal. So it's cool to keep that stuff alive. They're gonna crush it, and we're like, no, we can't do that.
No, that's awesome, man. That's really cool. And so then, not just, I mean, obviously in the bareback riding world as a whole, yourself, and like I said, you know, with even just the Rocky Mountain mini broncs and stuff, and growing the sport and being a big player in that. But even just right there in Hayden too, you've got some young kids that are awfully tough and you know, are following right in your footsteps. You know, like when we had all those entries there in Hayden the other day, a lot of them were from right there in Hayden. You know, they came from all over the country, but a lot of them were from right there.
Yeah, that local deal with Caitlin being in the valley and having so many different deals to do. Like she's got the ponies and the mini bulls. Like if a kid wants to ride barebacks, they can, or get on a saddle bronc or a bull, you know. And me being rode all three events, I can, at that level, I can help enough, just make sure everything's going safe.
Big
but
time.
when they start graduating, you know, like if them bronc riders per se, like they finally graduate the knowledge I know, which is pretty quickly, I just call one of my buddies up and I'm like, hey, this kid's really got it. Like, just talk to this guy. So it's pretty handy. I can point them in a direction if I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, and somebody I know will, you know. And so it's good for them kids having somewhere to go and get on, and I can help them out. Sometimes build them gloves and make sure their equipment's right, and that's the biggest thing, you know. Like, shit, there's some kids, you know, everyone sees bareback riding or bareback rigging, they're like, oh, that glove's so tight. But you know, like, and especially when you get into my level of stuff, like if you have it too tight, you can't even squeeze. So like, it's almost, if it's looser, you can squeeze it tighter, you know. And that little stuff like that, people don't really think about. Like, they get worked up, got a bucker, so they take your shims out, and now you're screwing yourself even harder. So like little knowledge tips like
those
that,
little tidbits or whatnot. You only learn with experience. You know? You can cut it off at the pass a little bit. And kind of
if I can
minimize things,
get them without having to have them learn it the hard way, you know, it maybe keep that kid going another year or two. So
for sure,
it's awesome, and starting to see them kind of creep up into the rodeos. It's like, hey, little shit, get out of here. I didn't teach you that to win or come beat me.
That's right. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of them that are going to be right there in the mix. And
the next 3-4 years, there's going to be a second wave of this bareback riding stuff, you know, like my age group. And I think that next one's right around the door. So it's going to be fun watching these next 10-15 years. Bareback riding is exciting.
And it's exciting right now. And like I said, it always has been, but just like I said, there's a resurgence of it. But when you're looking at it, you're such a unique case, right? Like, I mean, it just is what it is. But like, I mean, you won over $100,000 on your permit, you know, so you had a lot of pretty solid success right out the gate. But was there a moment, you know, with the bareback riding specifically, not just the bull riding, but where things like we talked earlier, like where it clicked and you were just like, okay, I've got this now? Like, was there that clear moment for you?
Man, I had a couple, you know, like in high school, like, well, shit, even when I was learning, when I first like when I tell these kids, like, it all just happens in one ride and it all clicks. Like, it happened to me. I couldn't spur a dang thing. And then one day something just started moving right, and I'm like, oh, that's way easier. So from that point forward, I could perfect my spur stroke. And then high school rodeo, winning nationals and stuff like that, I knew to myself that I belonged, and as long as it's something I wanted to do, I could be the best at it. And then 18 years old, get my permit, and we went to, I think, 70 on my first permit, and then I think I entered 120 rodeos on my second one. So we just was going. Like, if I was at home, I was working. I didn't want to do that, so I just stayed rodeoing. And when I was winning checks, it was probably San Angelo. I won San Angelo. I won the long round of San Angelo and the short round, and it was like 17,000. It was on my second permit year, so the money didn't count to the finals or nothing, but it was. Shoot a load of rodeo, yeah,
that's a cool rodeo to win.
It's so electric in that building. I love it. But having that was probably the one that really, like, man, you belong because that rodeo, it's the old school style. Like, they play long round and then the short round instead of like a tournament style. So that's one to win both of them. You get a big check, and that was probably my PRCA stepping stone of like, oh shit, here we are
now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when I think of you as a competitor right now, a lot of these people or whatnot that are either new to rodeo or whatnot, or like I said, might need just a little bit of reminder after, the first 8 rounds here at the Thomas and Mack.
Right.
The thing that separates you from everybody else, I think, is you'll hear the commentators, Butch and Jeff Metters, they make the comment of, this horse fits him here, this horse fits him there. I think what makes you so much stronger and hard to deal with when it comes to, the other bareback riders is there ain't one that fits you, right? I mean, you literally are like a machine. They call you a machine all the time, right? And your spur stroke is so strong that I mean, you'll ride the sweetheart of a pin the same way you would an eliminator of a pin.
Yes, sir.
What do you think you contribute to that? And if you're talking to a young bareback rider, how is it that you're able to do that?
Man, it's just consistency, like you do everything right, basics, like if you can do the basics right on a bareback horse, everything else comes with it. It's from that point on, it builds your ride, and like it's tough. What was the question?
Just from going from one pin to the next pin and being able to accomplish it all with that same stroke.
I mean, growing up, I got on bulls and bareback horse anywhere I could find it around Colorado, and sometimes they weren't worth a damn. We get on a lot of survey colts at like the high school rodeos, and so them things, you're almost teaching the horse at the same time as you're learning. And so like I really had to learn how to ride them. Like if I always had a really strong spur stroke, so like those colts, like if you really bear off in their neck and drag up to your handle, there's a chance they might just go over backwards with you. So like that stuff, it taught me how to feel the horse out and build the ride. Like you can help a horse get better if you're
pick them up.
Pick them up and really make a 16-point horse maybe have a 20-point day, and it's something I really strove on, because there's guys that'll enter 2 rodeos a day every day of the season and go to half of them, turn out of 50 rodeos and have 100 on their count, but only been to 50. Well, I've never been that way. I'll be damn near 100 rodeos and turn out of maybe 10 a year, and just go and get on. I'm like, there's a lot of horses that other guys don't win money on, and I somehow do. And it's actually kind of annoying. I'll get a phone call randomly from a guy. He's like, hey, what's this horse? And I'm like, man, it was good with me. Wasn't good with anybody else I saw. So it's up to you, though. He's like, what do you do different? I'm like, I don't know. It worked. Sometimes get annoying, but no, if you can go out and consistently make money on stuff that you're not supposed to make money on, that separates bottom 15 to the top 15. Like there's still a few sprinkled in there that tend to draw a little better and they snuck up there, but like with me, like I'll go and get on that sucker that nobody's won money on and try it out. Like turning out, you still got to pay your entry fee. So
might as well give it a shot.
Exactly. If I got to pay for it, I want to try to win. You can't win if you ain't getting on. So I guess that's probably the part of my old school mentality. Like if I'm entered, I'm just going to go ahead and get on it. Unless it's really treacherous or pile of crap. But 9 times out of 10 I'll be there. So but that helps with the contractors, like these guys are making a living trying to get their stuff here, and a lot of guys, if one wasn't so good, they don't want to get on it. So them contractors really respect you coming and actually giving a young one a try, So it's awesome. I've gained a lot of friends that way. So
yeah, I can see that. I can see that for sure, and but then when you're getting ready for this next year, like we talked about or whatnot, in some of these winter rodeos, but do you have anything else coming up before Denver? Were you able to get into Denver? How's that like?
I think I hope the entries haven't gone by yet.
No, I don't think
you have like 3 different entries. And
I don't think they have.
Timed events. And,
I'm just curious when we're going to get a chance to see you.
Be entering Denver, should get into it. And but entries for Gillette are coming around the corner. New Year's Buck and Ball.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah, so you will be up there.
Hopefully I get a spot in there. It's a circuit rodeo, so I should somehow get into it. And but that's the plan. Just Gillette, Denver, and then try to enter the big buildings in Texas. It'll be tough getting into them, but put my foot in the door and see if they let me in. Maybe get lucky. Maybe somebody mess up and let me in.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, exactly. But I mean, I can assure you that the Thomas and Mack, the NFR in 2026, and the Bareback Riding is going to have a whole lot different, platform when they throw you back in the mix.
Yes, sir.
No doubt about it.
I'm excited to get back in that building. That building is so cool. Like we were talking about St. Angelo being that old Coliseum. It's a lot like this or Denver, like it's only 16,000 people or whatever it is, and that electricity is just
fire
stuck in that little building, and it's the coolest feeling on the back of the bug and shoots, especially when that grand entry goes out and all the guys be flying by down the alleyway. The first time I ever got on here, I usually take some pre-workout before I get on, get a little antsy. I didn't need it. I was wired.
I bet. Is it San Angelo or what? I love these types of questions too, because they're your favorite for specific reasons and experiences. But is there an arena or rodeo or a ride, something that you really, I don't know, maybe it's something you tend to always win or something like that? Is there a rodeo that stands out?
Right. I've had a lot of luck at Angelo there, and I don't know. There's so many outdoor rodeos. Like I love that Northwest run and some of them old arenas that had a lot of history. That's some cool stuff. But if I had to choose, I probably like them small coliseums the most. Like at Denver, I got to get on there when I was a kid in the pony riding, and that was the first big building, or not even a big building, but building I've ever kind of got to ride in. And
so that home turf.
And getting down to Thomas and Mack, and it feels that same way. I love it. Like if you can lock that electricity in a building and you really feel it as a contestant, and even if the crowd kind of sucks, it doesn't matter. You still feel it,
For sure. And I got to ask you this too, if there might be any plans or possibilities. Then I know I can't remember the actual qualification piece of it, but I had Kincaid Henry on earlier, tie down roper doing a fantastic job, but he won the Hondo Rodeo in Arizona, and then Cord McCoy was on, part of the Hondo Rodeo. But you're starting to see, the Hondo Rodeos, the Kid Rock Rockin' Rodeo, the San Diego Rodeo, and some of these massive events going on in these big stadiums and stuff. What do you think of those opportunities and what that could do for the sport?
So cool. Yeah, they just mentioned they're having another Hondo there at the New Orleans at the Superdome or whatever. Crazy. I heard that. I was like, I want there. I need to call Cord and make sure I need in there. They invited me to go to that Hondo last year, and groins was ripped apart and was focusing on here. So didn't want to get on 4 and come in here and get on another 10. So we kind of sat out there, and really wish I could have made it down there and got to watch it last year and this year. It's a cool thing, like they really bring in the different aspects. It's kind of like Houston, like they really nailed that one down first, like they have a rodeo, but they sell it with a big singer afterwards. So like in Houston, it's 20-some day rodeo, and they bring in different genres, artists. They have one day it's the Mexican day, and they have a whole bunch of just mariachis and stuff like that. It's so fun. And then they have a rapper come in or an old country singer, and it's like, huh? I don't even know that guy's still around.
But, exactly. They do throw a curveball at you.
And so they nailed it down. Like there's a lot of people that want to go to a concert maybe don't know nothing about a rodeo, but them coming to that concert, now they know about the rodeo.
And they're becoming a rodeo fan.
Exactly. And it's that's just something that I can't believe people didn't think of that a little sooner.
But
it's genius.
It just took the opportunity to sell the seats, you know.
Exactly.
Right now, it's one of the things I love about it, right? Is it's cool to be cowboy, and it always has been. But you know, there's ebbs and flows from a national perspective, and right now,
5 years, it's
and they took advantage of the opportunity, and
yes, sir.
You know, like Kincaid, you know, said that basically it was jam packed from foul line to foul line to that baseball stadium, and I mean that's 32,000 people.
Hard to do,
you know, and 32,000 people, and for him being a tie down rope, you know, getting to learn about tie down roping, and then being able to watch the bareback ride and everything else through there. But well, man, I sure do appreciate you joining me here today and coming by, man, because like I said, you're such a unique person, a unique talent when it comes to rodeo, and a unique situation right now, right, where the bareback riding is on full display and getting a lot of attention, for rightfully so. You know, but I just wanted to make sure and remind the rest of the world that you know, we got a Colorado mountain man that's on his way back. You know?
We're coming back right now. Yes, sir.
Right.
Yeah, no, if they forgot.
That's exactly right. This the Thomas and Max going to look a lot different next year. But
yes, sir. Get that blue back in there.
That's right. That's right. Well, good luck with everything over the winter, you know, rodeos, and getting into the spring, and looking forward to seeing your name just continue to climb on that standings board. But but I sure do appreciate you, man.
No, thank you
so much for coming in and
thanks for having me on.
Yeah, but well, everyone, that's another great episode here on the Woodshed. You know, getting a chance to catch up with Keenan Hayes. Like I said, we talked about it, you know, a few different times. But if you are a fan of rodeo, new to rodeo, and just absolutely love the bareback ride, and get ready, Keenan Hayes is coming back to the rodeo world in a big way here in the next month or so. And this arena, this NFR, will look a lot different a year from now with Keenan back in the mix. But right now, folks, thank you again to Challenge of Champions Tour for bringing us this great episode. Again, if you're looking to get in, any bull riders looking to go to a great event, head up to the Pacific Northwest and beyond as they come down to Arizona, Utah, Colorado. Challenge of Champions Tour is a place to check things out. And again, thank you to, you know, Rocky Mountain Mini Broncs. If you got a young cowboy or even cowgirl looking to get on some bucking horses, Rocky Mountain Mini Broncs with Keenan and his sister Caitlin do a fantastic job. So right now, looking forward. We've got another great guest right around the corner, but for this time, World Champion Keenan Hayes is in the building. So you all have a good rest of your day. We'll see you on the next one.
If you enjoyed the podcast, let us know. Contact Cody Wood at cody@equistelevision.net. Thanks for listening, and join us right here every week for The Woodshed with Cody Wood on the Equus Radio Network.